I'm sewing, and it's straight up making me a little crazy. Just a little bit. I took the time to make this really beautiful skirt. And the thing is, normally when I make a dress, I typically will finish the bodice and then attach the skirt to the bodice because the skirt is my favorite part and I just want to spend hours and hours and hours doing some patchwork stuff or adding trims. I'm really into trims lately. That's what I did. That's not what I did. I'm sorry. That's not what I did. What I did was I actually did the last part first where I made the prettiest skirt. Like, look at that. Look at that. And I got the gathers all nice, which I gather by hand. I don't machine gather. I really like that process because it connects me to what I'm doing. If I machine gather, I will gather 10 yards of fabric because there's something about the motion that's just very like I'm just going to do it. So doing it by hand connects me to my project so I can stay present with it. So I got the gathers all nice and cute, and I did like the most adorable little pleats. I actually sewed these pleats down. And this trim here, I like my skirt, and I did make the bodice here. Not really happy with the bodice, but I did make the bodice. I made the bodice, and the way it was supposed to go, it's kind of being washed out, but the way it was supposed to go was it was supposed to like line up and be this really beautiful thing. But I made a couple mistakes on the inside of the garment. No one would have ever seen it. And if I'm honest, it really wasn't an issue. I could have just finished the dress and been fine with it. But this dress was supposed to be for me. So it was driving me up the wall. I ended up, the seam line, I took in too much on one side, making the bodice kind of off-center to one side. And the trim lined up. It did line up. But because of me taking in too much on one side, it's all shifting over here. So it looks crooked on my naked doll right here. Like, this is a 14-inch pattern, so I had it on my welly wisher. And the dress was finished and it was fine. And it's a day later. And I was telling myself, I'm not going to be persnickety. I'm not going to cut it up. I'm not using the seam ripper. But then I got off work and I got home and this was ruining my existence. So I cut it off because I'm fixing to use my skirt. When I cut this out, I also cut out another, like the same pattern, but just this fabric. And I'd run out of this fabric when I got to the bodice. And I'm actually sewing it right now. Hold on, let me take it off the machine. So I'm actually sewing it. And I'd run out of this fabric, so I ended up using this fabric for the lining. And I was like, it'll be fine. No one will ever see it on the inside. But in lieu of messing up this bodice, and it sucks because I used my last little bit of this fabric to line it, and I love this fabric. It's so nice, and anyway. So I've taken the pieces that I was going to use that was cut out of this, and that last little piece of this fabric. This is another, like, one of my favorite fabrics. It's actually scraps from years ago, and I really wanted to like use my scraps in a dress, and like that's why this is patchworked, because there's not very much of this fabric. I had like just enough to squeeze out this situation, and actually straight up pisses me off that I won't be using this because I can accept some flaws, like maybe a stitch line won't be straight, or maybe I've cut something a little crooked, but the construction, the fit has got to fit. Instead of this being the lining, This is going to be on the outside of this dress, and I'm gonna decorate it and make it cute so it still matches the skirt. And then the part that was supposed to be on the outside for this entire garment, which would have been this, gonna be on the inside. Yeah, it's gonna be on the inside, and it's gonna be the lining, and it'll still go with this. It's all the same fabrics and stuff. Because look how cute that skirt is. I think what I'm gonna do is just attach the skirt to this new bodice that I've made, because girl, come on. I mean, yeah, that's gonna have to happen. I really like this bodice, and it came together really nicely. This one, part of me wants to try and salvage it some kind of way, but I'm probably not. Oh well. But I had these old buttons that were gifts to me from a while ago. And look at this button. It's like made for this garment. I don't know about the other three. There's only been three. Maybe I'll put them somewhere on the garment. They do match, dog. I didn't even realize that they matched that. Yeah, they probably should go on this garment. They match so well. But this one, honey, for sure. For sure, it was made for this garment. All right, so we've attached the skirt to the bodice. I like it. I'm really happy. I did trim down that excess bit that kept the skirt gathered and stuff, and I actually redid the gathers and everything. I'm happy with how everything looks on the inside. Nice and clean. Love this, but after making this, I was like, oh, well, what am I gonna do with this skirt that I cut out? So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna attach anything else to my essentially completed dress. I'm just going to psych. I did, you know, I added the skirt. Yes, I wasn't gonna do that because I had already finished the edge here, but I just was like really careful and stitched it to the finished edge, and it looks really good. Yeah. And it's gonna be super poofy when I put it on the jaw.